Hey VC, hello. It's Dom here, seeking a thread. I wanted to update with some new vinyl in my life. This somewhat long running series. There's plenty I could update on. I'm just sort of getting around to figuring out which ones I want to pick. So for this one, I have a semi-recent batch of stuff here, and some of this is within a few months ago, some of it's a few weeks ago. But in any case, it's all stuff I just felt would be fun to show. Maybe some things that haven't been seen. I wanted to start with some records that I've been playing recently that are not new. Why not? I wanted to sort of highlight things that I've been pulling out of my collection as much as I can, because I'm not buying as many new things right now. I want to come back to stuff that I have. Here's an age-old classic. Fripp, No Pussyfooting, original UK on the beautiful pink, the black label with the pink eye. With Robert Fripp, Brian Eno doing the Frippertronics thing. I know everyone knows this album, but it still blows my mind every time I hear it. I have really fond memories of actually driving around listening to this a while back, and just sort of getting immersed in it. Wonderful album, and I put on, once a year I come back to it. So I'm listening to that. I'm also listening to this Ocora record, the Harmonic Choir, the Hearing Solar Winds with David Hykes. There's a bunch of David Hykes in the Harmonic Choir. This is all stuff for voice, very beautiful. I don't have much Ocora. I know the folks out there who are showing this stuff. Sure, Chris. I want to find more. So, this is from 1980, the French pressing, of course. Beautiful stuff. The Hearing Solar Winds. L'écoute de vent solaire. There's my French for you. And I got a trio of things I want to show. I wanted to come back to my Pharaoh Quintet record. This is not the first pressing, but it's the ESP with this really beautiful custom label. I got this earlier this year. I think I showed it, but I've been coming back to it. I was sort of blown away by who Pharaoh is using in this. Stan Foster on trumpet, Jane Getz piano, very obscure. I looked her up. She has like one record, and it's not a jazz record. William Bennett bass, Marvin Patillo percussions from '65. If you didn't know already, there's two covers, or actually a few different variations of this cover. The very first doesn't have that written there, and then there's like the white cover with like the spirit on or whatever, and there's this. This is it's from '65, pretty early. Blistering stuff from Pharaoh Sanders, of course. And yes, he is featured on this new Love Supreme Live in Sound, which I do have over there. I haven't listened to it yet, but everyone's talking about it, rightfully so. What else am I listening to? So, I've been coming back to the music of Bruno Wizard, who was in the punk group The Homosexuals, the Rejects before that. The Rejects was a '77 punk group from the UK, and they didn't even release official music, though they did have some recordings. This guy was punker than punk, man. Bruno Wizard. He changed the name of the Rejects to the Homosexuals, thinking like no major labels would want to sign them with that name, and sure enough, it's true. They lost a few of their band members, and they had to start all over again. It was mainly him and Jim Welter, who was the bassist. But this is the Homosexuals. This is their one and only record. I put this on Instagram a while ago, but this I pulled to listen to. This is old for me. It's from '84, but it includes recordings of like stuff from their singles going back to early '80s, '79. This is on the Recommended label. Awesome. Never been reissued. There's a CD reissue of this, but not a vinyl reissue. And this is from, like I said, '84 on the Recommended label. This is some amalgamation of Bruno Wizard there. Plays at 45 RPM. But it got me thinking about some of the other things. The Recommended label is sort of a somewhat semi-well-known record label in the UK. They did a sampler, which I have here. This has like Faust on it. This has This Heat. This has a whole bunch of people. It's got all like handmade sleeve or handmade sort of PVC sleeve here. I'm kind of in the weeds here, but let's just go with it. Recommended record sampler, new music, blah blah blah, double LP. A lot of the punk UK, not a lot, but a few of the punk UK labels were doing these samplers. They're really all over the place. Universe Zero is on this. The Residents are on this. R. Stevie Moore, Henry Cow, Robert Wyatt, the Homosexuals, El Vogue, who is one of the which is Jim Welter's other group, This Heat and Faust, and a bunch of other obscure UK punk groups. And the other thing that's sort of related, Bruno Wizard of the Homosexuals started his own label called Black Noise, and I got this record not too long ago. This is called the George Harrasment, and the record is called Masai Sleepwalking. This is sort of a kitchen sink. It's sort of like a Faust Tapes-esque, but more lo-fi punk record. A little bit of everything in here: dub, minimalism, punk, just instrumental weirdness. It's basically the Homosexuals just under this other alias. It's the same people. I'll show you the label real quick. Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows these, is familiar with Homosexuals and Black Noise label, but I am trying to collect. There's like maybe somewhere between 8 to 10 records on the Black Noise label. And the other thing I've been listening to a lot is Count Ossie, the great Nyabinghi drummer, spiritual soul, and dub reggae. This is a reissue of Grounation. James Buttery showed an original of this. I would love to have one. It is, like he was saying, a privilege and a treat to be able to hear this music. This is a triple album, Grounation. This is a dub store reissue. This is in print. I highly, highly recommend everyone buy this. Just do it. This takes you on a journey. It's basically like a mass, a Rastafarian mass. There's a track on here called Way Back Home I've been playing for a week straight that is just so joyful with the horns in it and the percussion. I can't recommend this enough. It's Count Ossie and the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, Grounation, originally from '73. And also, this is my somewhat early press of the UK dynamic label of Tales of Mozambique. This is also great. Similar sort of spirit and vibe to it. It just sort of flows and just sort of unravels in a beautiful way. It's sort of spiritual jazz at times, and the horns are not, these are not like accomplished jazz musicians. They're sort of coming at it from a self-taught perspective, but Count Ossie leading the group with a big ensemble of musicians. I'll show. I didn't want to get too far in the weeds with what I was listening to, but I've just been so, again, these are not new to me, but when I bring these out, I just feel so moved by them. And I can't recommend them enough. I'm trying to find an original Grounation. There's a few different versions of that. So here's the new records of my life, and we're listening to one of them, Joshua Abrams, Natural Information. I've mentioned him. He's a bassist in countless amount of groups. Some of you will know him, Natural Information Society. The next one I'm about to show. This is his under his own name. This is on Eremite, I think. And this is actually a reissue of the 2009 release. This is just wonderful. Joshua Abrams playing the Wimbri percussion, harmonium, and the MPC. So, as well as dulcimer bells. And then you have Emmett Kelly, a guitarist who's played with Bonnie Prince Billy, actually. Frank Rosalie, Narita Tanaka, Jason Adasuika on the vibraphone. From 2010, but this is recently repressed. Is this Eremite? Yeah. Dave knows the Eremite label. This is just great. So, Joshua Abrams, I've been looking for things he does, and that's why I bought this new record on Dragon City, just called Mind Maintenance. Joshua Abrams, Chad Taylor. Chad Taylor is sort of involved with the collective musicians that he works with too. But this is, they're playing the similar instrument, Eastern instruments, the Gwimbri and the Mbira. And it's sort of gamelan influenced, gamelan music. But this is a drag CD release, actually. I'm spacing, sorry guys, it's late. My Maintenance, Chad Abrams. Josh Abrams, Chad Taylor. Just came out probably during the summer. It's sort of a similar tone throughout the whole thing, but it is indeed some maintenance for your mind. As I said, sort of like a gamelan influence on here. Alright, changing things up. I was talking for a friend I haven't talked with in a while. Well, just haven't connected with too recently, but we talked. And he was telling me he's selling some records for some personal reasons, as I am. I'm working on that still. Many boxes. And he was telling me he was getting rid of this Elliott Smith record. This is the original press of XO. His first record for DreamWorks, but in the US on vinyl, was released on Bong Load, which is Beck's label. Insert. This is his Elliott Smith's first real major label record, released. I forget if it was after or during or before Good Will Hunting. I think it's right around the same time. This is from '98. I think it's just after. It's probably why he got them. I mean, he was already sort of bubbling up, but XO from '90, is it 8? Yeah. That sounds great. It's been reissued on the plain label, but not officially. And that's it. This is a Bong Load custom, it says. I love Elliott Smith. I've been a fan for a long time, CDs mainly, and I've had some of the records, and recently I've been cleaning up and grabbing some of the things I don't have. And so, yeah, my friend gave me a really sweet deal on this copy of XO. I have a super early press of Either Or, and I had an early press of the self-titled album, but I traded out for the box set that's up there. I don't have an original Figure 8, and that's kind of where I'm at, I think. CDs, I have all tons of stuff. Elliott Smith. This one is thanks to Mazzy. I posted this on Instagram. It's the one record I asked about when he grabbed, or when he acquired his friend Coleman's records. That's the one thing I was hoping he'd have, because it sounded like his friend Coleman was a big Kings fan, and indeed he had this. This is the 2LP UK, Australian, maybe German also, retrospective that Ray Davies made for Pi Records, I think, because he probably owed them some more albums, but it's all pressed in mono, and it's taken from the original. This is from 1970. It's a compilation from 1970. It's all black, which is sort of cool. Not sort of, very cool. I love that sort of embossed kinks there. And it's from Coleman, so it's cool to have a piece of that. Of course, I did. Mazzy included the card. And this is just a really, it sounds amazing. As I said, all the records are mono. All the recordings are from the mono masters, and it's Ray Davies specifically sequenced this. Maybe even Dave. I don't know. They both did. They were involved. This is the UK pressing. Only you couldn't get it here in the US. It's got like not only album tracks, but B-sides, A-sides. It's sort of whatever he wanted to include. It's just called The Kinks. And you know, I know all this music and I have all these songs in various fashions, but I always really just wanted to have this compilation to complete the Kinks collection. I have a lot of Kinks. Up to the mid-70s anyway. Thank you, Mazzy, for cutting me a nice deal on it, and allowing me to own a piece of this great collection. It is in the sleeve has got some wear, as you can see, but the records are indeed great. So, super glad to finally get this. You never see it in the US. I didn't want to buy it from abroad, so. There's another one from a fellow VC, Mr. Plastic Oddments, aka Alex Motoric 24/7. We're selling this David Rosenboom record. Original Canadian pressing on the ARC label, or ARC. Pianist and I think Did he play the viola or the violin? This is a really interesting and sort of, this one I just found very immersive. Brainwave music, David Rosenboom, 1974, I believe it is. Now this is, Alex put this out there on his channel, or on his Plastic Almonds Instagram, because there's a pressing defect, sort of a whooshing sound, which there is. I was gonna take, oh yeah, you know what? I started to mess with taking off the sticker, which I can get off, but I left it for now. In any case, that defect is there, but I found that I didn't have a problem with it. And Rosenboom, a lot of different recordings I really would like to check out. So I will be doing that. I'm familiar with some of his stuff, but this is essentially a few different pieces. A Portable Gold and Philosopher's Stones, and the Chilean Drought, and a piano etude. Really cool cover. I really enjoy getting lost in this record, so I was able to do that without, you know, even with that defect. Here's a reissue. It was reissued one other time, but it's originally a cassette. It's called Flaming Tunes, and it's Gareth Williams, who was in Deceit, and his friend Mary Curry, not like Marie Curry. And it's got a bunch of inserts. But this is very much like a cassette DIY post-punk release. A little bit like the George Harrasment that I was showing before. Superior Viaduct reissue. It was originally a cassette, and then I'm forgetting what label reissued it a few years ago, which went up in value in a major way, so they put this back out. Gareth Williams was, I believe, the bassist in Deceit. Apparently he traveled to India in the early 80s and sort of came back and was immersed in those sounds for this record. Lo-fi pop melodies with oblique rhythms and densely layered natural sounds. Originally from 1883. Flaming Tunes, reissued by Superior Viaduct. I'm going to flip the record. And there's a bunch of different cool inserts. Let's flip the record. This is Kathy Heidemann, a Numero Group reissue, a repress of a reissue which went out of print. Kathy Heidemann, a folk artist who made this record Move With Love. It's sort of a precursor to Liz Phair's Exile and Guyville, I think, and it's sort of honesty, but she's the guitarist and singer. Interestingly, she didn't actually write the songs. They were written by a Dia Joyce, the composer and lyricist. But this goes back to a very rare private record on Country Flavor. I don't know how many copies exist, but not many. And from San Jose, California. I actually had been listening to this digitally for many years and just was waiting for I missed the reissue the first time, and they just redid it. It was actually a defective copy that I got. I posted it on Instagram. On white vinyl, it was all like mutilated center and like it was cut wrong. The actual, not the actual cutting of the analog source, but the actual like cutting of the excess sort of vinyl on the outside was cut wrong. Anyway, they gave me a copy that was fine. Move With Love, Kathy Heidemann. I don't want to say she's like Joni Mitchell really. She's much more hard, like sort of like truck stop, sort of like direct, gritty, but sort of beautiful voice that she has. Some very risque things on this record, but I really, the song Sleep a Million Years is just incredible. Vetiver covered it, and I think that's what sort of got her some attention and maybe sort of some acclaim. But Move With Love is amazing too. Tell It's True. There's so many great songs on this, so check it out. One of the last Lighton Hopkins records I wanted was the one that was issued on International Artists, the label run by, what's his name, Tex. Leland Rogers, and of course the 13 Elevators. But he did this record, he's from Texas too. called Freeform Patterns, and it includes some of the members of the 13th Floor Elevators recording with them. And it's just, it's lightning sort of being, assimilated into sort of rock, and maybe I don't know how we felt about it. Same things happened with Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf, and Mississippi Fred McDowell, but making rock albums for the young kids. But this one, I just love the perspective on it, because it's cool to hear, the Elevators members contributing on this. Great cover. It's sort of exploitive, but great cover nonetheless. This is, as I said, on the excellent International Artist label. This is a white label promo. Pretty nice copy. I just recently got this. It just was always out of reach, and someone finally had a price that was like of this earth, and so I grabbed it. Freeform Patterns. The year on it, I don't know, 68. Lightning, just in true form. He's sort of doing a little bit of, spoken word, a little bit, telling stories, but also just sort of doing the good old boogie that he does. I posted this one on Instagram. It's another reissue of a record that had been out before, a repress essentially. Steve Reed Ensemble, Spirit Walk, with Kieran Hedman and Fortet. Steve Reed on drums and vocals, and the last track, Drum Story. Listen to that. Hebden Electronics, Boris Netsvetiev, keyboards, John Edwards, bass, Chuck Henderson, soprano sax, Neil Kleiner, tenor sax and percussion, Nathaniel Catchpole, tenor sax, and Tony Bevan, bass sax. This is on the Soul Jazz label. Is this blue? I think it's blue vinyl, if you care. Oh, you care. Oh, it's not. Black. I thought it was going to be like that. Anyway, it's got a big old ugly Record Store Day sticker on it. I don't know. And it says it's colored vinyl, but it ain't. In any case, I don't care. This is fantastic. Sort of propulsive, very rhythmic, very driving, a jazz funk sort of sound, but with a mindfulness to it. Steve Reed, of course, and passed away maybe 10 years ago now. Incredible drummer. Last month's show is of a different thing. I've been playing, chicken with buying the karate records on Southern for years. My friends here have them. A few different people have them. Numerous group took on karate. Who knew? I know John, Mr. Digigramophone, showed it. I've been sort of digesting. I bought the 90s bundle that had the first album, and it had the Duster record in it, which I already had, but in any case, Seam. So I have the first record too, but I've been digesting this one. This is in place of Real Insight. And it's this is on black vinyl. It was going to be on color, which again, not a big deal to me. But they ran out, or something happened, so they had to give black as the insert. Karate, because they couldn't promise what they had. They couldn't send what they had promised. They sent a little bonus, a signed postcard by Jeff Farina, which is cool to have, of Karate. Karate is sort of blending the line of, the slowcore thing, the emo thing, indie, post-punk, post-hardcore, all in there. And they would get more jazzy and sort of more textural and sort of moody. But this album really finds them sort of hitting their stride, I think, in place of Real Insight. Karate, this is from the late 90s, Chicago, great Chicago band. So, got a little signed postcard. I'm still digesting Karate, but I was familiar with them some. The first album, self-titled, I have over there as well. That is Karate. That's all the records I have. I thought for fun right now, I would do a few blindfolds, or as Mazzy calls it, the whack-a-mole. I've been meaning to do that when I'm sitting here, so I'm going to do 3 quick ones. What's over here? I'm going to go down low. over here? What's over here? Over here. Alright. 3 quick ones. What do we have? More Hawkwind. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. On United Artists label. This is one of their classic records with Lemmy. US Press. There's more space. I just showed Hawkwind in the whimsical vinyl tag. This is from the early 70s. What else do we have? Oh, I showed this at one point. Oh, I already showed this. GP video. This is Le Voyage. Oh, no, I didn't. No, I did not. I did not show this in the cheap video. I don't think this is cheap anymore. But this is a Jeffrey Cantula Decima, Love is a Stream on the Type label. Sort of a minimalism and gauzy electronic sound from 2010. Cantula Decima, I have a new record of him I have to dig into. He started the Root Strata label and was in, I'll have to look it up, I'm forgetting, his tons of projects. Michael Mueller, we talked about Ledesma a little bit. We've gone back and forth on him. This is beautiful. I pulled it out to sort of wonder if I still wanted it, if I still needed it. Oh, it's got the CD in it too. And it's awesome. It's just lovely. Very hazy and atmospheric, and but Terry Riley sort of happening on this. Super cool. So I pulled that out of my sort of more modern electronics. And the third one, what do I have here? The last Cat Power album. I saw her when this came out. She came to Ithaca. This is Wanderer, a real solid record for her to come back with. On Domino. I'm a fan of Cat Power. I've been a fan of hers for many years. Not all the records, but most of them. Quite like. Sean Marshall, sort of tortured, sort of always sort of in her own, zone when it comes to performing. Sometimes it doesn't work out well. When she came here right before the pandemic, and it was awesome. It was so haunting and rapturous, and sort of the stage setting was really good, and the musicians were all sort of really restrained, and her voice was great. She did some covers that didn't sound like the songs that she was doing, or didn't sound like the originals. This is a great album, The Wanderer. Not her best, but after the last couple, this was really great. Alright, that is all for New Vinyl in My Life. I know it went on a little long. Did the whack-a-moles, blind pulls. I'd like to do another one of these before I get into my series on psychedelia. Hope everyone's doing great. I've been a little bit behind on catching up. I'm seeing everyone's stuff though. I'm seeing everybody's videos and updates, so I'm there. I'm here. Talk to you soon, everyone. Be well.